بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. I'm on my way to university right now, and I was just thinking about the idea of respecting the scholars. So this is really so first of all, is respecting the scholars good? Yes, respecting the people of knowledge is a very good thing. Knowledgeable people should always be respected. But what does respecting the scholars really mean? You have a lot of modern people and contemporary people who basically say that respecting the scholars, that they respect the scholars, but they made mistakes. So for example, and this is true, scholars make mistakes, but these modern people, basically what they say is, these faux traditionalists, they say that, they respect all the scholars from all the different sort of sides of the Aqidah debate. So they say I respect the Ash'ari scholars, I respect the Salafi, or I don't know what you would call them, the Salafi scholars, or whatever you would want to call them, the Hanbalis. Maybe some of them call them and classify them as Hanbalis, incorrectly. Many times, obviously, Bukhari wasn't Hanbali, but these they respect all sides of the Ash'ari debate or the Aqidah debate. So they respect the Ash'ara, they respect the Maturidiyya, they respect the Salafiyya, they respect all of them. And they say that the issue with the modernists, or the issue with the Salafis, or the issue with the Habis, or the issue with the extremists on basically all sides of the debate, is that they only respect their side, and they only recognize their own scholars, and that when you sort of disrespect the scholars from the other side, you're kind of being a sectarian. This is sectarianism. And so when, for example, a Salafi today calls an Ash'ari a Jahmi, or calls a Razi a Jahmi, or calls any of the Ash'ari scholars really a Jahmi, these people are being sectarianists. And sure, Ahmed made takfir of anyone who held their beliefs. For example, most notably, and this is what people really all know, is that Ahmed bin Hanbal, radiallahu anh, he made takfir basically of anyone who said that the Quran is created. Okay, so if you say the Quran is created, you're a Jahmi kafir. Okay, for al-Lafzi, he says that you're a Jahmi. Okay, and of course Jahmi, being a Jahmi has different levels, but it would still be considered a takfir, at whatever level you're at, just like the Jews and the Christians, they're kuffar, and the polytheists, the polytheists, which are not Jews and Christians, are kuffar, but the Jews and Christians are less kafir, their kufr is less than the non-Jews and the non-Christians, even though they're all just like how iman is at levels. Obviously the iman of the Sahaba and the iman of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is much higher than our own. Okay, even though inshallah we're both we're all mu'mineen. Anyways, in any case, what does it mean to respect the scholars? So if I told you, for example, that I respect you, you're a very respectable being, and I consider you a wali of Allah, but you're a takfiri and you're a mujassim. Okay, is this respect? Is this respecting can I respect someone as a religious figure while considering their beliefs to be tajsim, and considering them to be takfiris? Because if we applied Ahmed's beliefs, Ahmed's creed on the Ash'ari scholars, then they would be Jahmiya kuffar. This is the reality of it. And whichever way you want to put it, you cannot say that you respect Ahmed and you consider him a wali of Allah. Do you know what being a wali of Allah is? A friend of Allah, as a rough translation. You can't say that Ahmed is a wali of Allah and at the same time say that Ahmed was a takfiri, or Ahmed he made incorrect ijtihad, or whatever you want to say with regards to his creedal beliefs. Because you have to understand that Ahmed, would make takfir of all your like imma, basically. You know, I don't know if you consider Bukhari to be an imam, but he would at least, I mean, Bukhari wouldn't make takfir of Bukhari, obviously, but and he didn't make takfir of Bukhari. But I mean, like your imma, as in your Jahmi Ash'ari imma, or not the imma that are actually that deserve to be imams, like Bukhari. And uh, so, like, you have to decide. You have to say, like, what does like you can't say that, for example. And okay, you also have this idea that okay, how can you disrespect them, the Ash'ara, when they made so many good works? Okay, so let me ask you a question. Okay, so Muslims, we benefited a lot from Facebook. Obviously, it also hurt us, but we benefited a lot from Facebook. Benefited, in terms of our religion from internet. In many cases, we spread a lot of knowledge, uploaded a lot of PDFs, that kind of thing. The people who made these devices aren't suddenly Muslim because Mark Zuckerberg isn't a Muslim. We do not refuse to make takfir of Mark Zuckerberg because he made Facebook and is of benefit to Muslims. Someone can be of benefit to us while not being a Muslim, or at least not being a Sunni. At the very least. Like, let's say someone is really good at Arabic, or really, because Aqidah is an objective thing. You're either a Muslim or a non-Muslim, or you're a Muslim. Obviously you can be a Mubtada as well, and but Aqidah is an objective thing. If 1,000 million people said, and they're all really knowledgeable, they're amazing at Arabic, okay, and they all said that basically. They all said basically that Arabic was they all said that basically, like Allah and Al-Uzza, they're gods, or they said whatever point about Aqidah, okay, like whatever point. That doesn't make the point true. They're not prophets. Even the prophets are just saying like what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala told them to say, alayhim salatu wassalam, and the Sahaba, they just follow what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, So you can't say that these scholars basically are the ones who decide like, which is the correct aqidah, And even if you can see that they're Sawad al-A'zam, okay? And the thing is, like, I don't understand what their point is. Like, they say that Sawad al-A'zam basically the majority of the scholars after like the 5th century or whatever, I don't know what their claim is, but they make the claim that the Ash'ari are the majority, even though Ibn Asakir or whatever, he says that they're the minority, and like whatever, like they just make this claim, and they don't provide any evidence for this claim. They just make this claim, this vague claim, and just say, Al-Ghazali and Nawawi and whatever, and Ibn Hajar, and they list like famous people. Okay, they don't really offer any evidence because this would be actually a really hard thing to do, to prove that the majority of the scholars were Ash'ara. Anyways, so for the first three, but let's say it's true, let's say it's completely true, okay, just for the sake of the discussion, for the sake of the argument, for the sake of the debate. Let's say that the majority of the scholars after the 5th century were Ash'ara. Okay. So was it the case that before the 5th century, like the Salafi Aqidah, or the Wahhabi Aqidah, or the Athari Aqidah, or whatever you want to call it, was that Aqidah correct? And then afterwards, the Ash'ari Aqidah became correct. Is that like the argument? Like, is the Aqidah like a democratic process? Like all the scholars can go and they vote on what the correct Aqidah is? Yani? Is this like really like your logic? Or you could say, no, they understood. Like the Ash'ari scholars, they understood the words of the Salaf better than you and I did. How can the majority of the scholars understand how can the majority of the Ash'ari scholars like not understand, or how do you claim that you understand the Aqidah of the Salaf and the Aqidah of the Sahaba better than Ash'ari scholars did? Okay, fine. The Ash'ari scholars, they understand the Aqidah better. Okay, let's see what the Ash'ari scholars said. Al-Qurtubi in his tafsir says that Salama and that the Sahaba and the Salaf in general, said رضي الله عنها رضي الله عنهم جميعا and that Allah was above the throne, literally, like he was above the throne, okay, and that they affirm the attributes according to the zahir meaning, according to the apparent meaning. Okay, fine, he understands it better. خلاص, are you gonna finally concede that our aqidah is the aqidah of the Sahaba, and that you're following a different aqidah? Al-Izz bin Abd salam says the majority of the Sahaba, they were Mujassima, or they fell into major tajsim, let's say. Al-Izz bin Abd salam, okay, the Ash'ari scholar you guys love, okay, fine. So. And he obviously considers tajsim to be like just affirming the attributes as they are. Okay, like as the Salaf did and as the Sahaba did, according to his own admission. Okay, so fine. Okay, the Ash'ari scholars understood the beliefs of the Salaf better than you or I did. Okay, so let's follow them. Let's follow not the Ash'ari scholars, but let's follow the Sahaba. The Sahaba's belief according to the understanding of the Ash'ari scholars you guys love so much, like Al-Izz and Al-Qurtubi. Okay? And listen, like there are scholars, there are great, I don't know if you can call them scholars, but there are scholars as in they're very knowledgeable in certain fields. From every single or from many different heretical sects within Islam that you would consider heretics and that you would consider kuffar. As the Makhshari being one of them. From the Shia, there's many, the Shia are known for being like great at philosophy and writing like great books on philosophy. As in like very well written works on philosophy. Okay. Are the Shia somehow now khalas, they became Sunni Muslims, we have to respect them, yani? Because they wrote many beneficial works, yani, in terms of, the field of philosophy. Obviously not beneficial for the Muslims, but they're good in terms of philosophy, yani. And some of them are very good at Arabic. So, like, khalas, we follow the Shia. Even today, like, in the contemporary world, like, some Arab nationalist secularists wrote works that are very beneficial in terms of the Arabic language. And that can be very beneficial to Muslims. Khalas, they became, like, these secularist nationalists. They became, like, Sunni Muslims, and you have to respect them. Like, I want to understand, like, how many works does someone have to write before they become a Sunni Muslim? Like, is this, like, a condition of Islam that I didn't know about? Maybe you could tell me, like, you have to write a certain amount of works and they have to be popular in a certain amount of nations. Okay. Anyways, a certain number of nations, probably more grammatically correct. In any case, that's just all I have to say. I'm arriving at, campus soon in a few minutes, so I should probably end this sort of rant / discussion on the Ash'ari discussion, this Ash'ari Salafi, the Jahmi Salafi discussion. Just at the end that they always use these like modern like tactics, like these modern like they're against sectarianism. Like why is sectarianism a bad thing in the first place? Like can you give me like a sectarianism in the sense that sectarianism from the Quran and Sunnah, like sectarianism in that you're deviating from the beliefs of the Salaf, but sectarianism making takfir of someone who deserves to be made takfir of isn't sectarianism. Considering like for example, like isn't like a bad form of sectarianism at the very least, Like Ibn Umar made takfir of the Qadariyya. Is this a form of sectarianism? And the Qadariyya, by the way, are much better off in the eyes of the scholars than you guys are, than the Jahmis are, okay? By the way, just saying. Ali bin Abi Talib made takfir of the Khawarij. خلاص, is he a sectarianist, يعني? Is he a sectarianist according to you, يعني? And okay, let's say, Ahmad bin Hanbal, okay, he made a mistake. He made a mistake in making takfir of the Jahmiyyah. Whatever. Like, he doesn't understand Tawheed like you guys do. Like, you guys have a better understanding of Tawheed and Shirk. Just because he made, okay, fine, I'm a miskin. Like, I'm just following Ahmad bin Hanbal. I'm saying that you guys are kuffar as well. Or no, the Jahmiyyah are kuffar as well. I don't know who's listening. You're not necessarily kafir, yani. But I'm saying the Jahmiyyah are kuffar as well. I'm saying that whoever says the Quran was created is a kafir. Okay? Why can't I be a wali like Ahmad is? Why can't I be a very respectable person like Ahmad is? So when Ahmad says something, it's okay, Bin Hanbal says something. But when I say the same thing, oh no, it's fine, it's sectarianism, I'm being a takfiri.
الله المستعان. and الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين.